This is the main road, or main driveway I should say, onto the property, and you've seen quite a few videos of me putting new roads in for many reasons. I've been looking for a way for a while to get to the top field, and there are a few features along the way that are very historic and very interesting. So this is the path that I've chosen for the road through. So in England there's a phrase for a very old ancient way called a hollow way, and a hollow way is an old road, typically thousands of years old, that has become a hollowed out trail, hollowed by the passage of feet, the passage of horse and cart, the passage of livestock to market. And over the thousands of years that these drovers' trails have been used, they've become recessed, as you might expect. What you don't expect to find is a road or a trail such as that in America. People think of America as being without such history, yet Native Americans, of course, were here for thousands of years, just like native Brits were in England for thousands of years. The Cherokee is the nation in this area. So the reason I mention that is that I've started to clear out what is obviously an old farm track here. Trees at either side. Yes, it was grown up in between. For a year or so I never even realized it was an old trail until I came across a gate post one day while doing something. So this is the start of a road that I figured would be an old farm track, and hadn't given a lot of thought to it perhaps being more ancient than that. And as I walk down here, you'll see what I've discovered. So I came through to here, found a gate post, found a gate in fact that was still hanging, all overgrown, cleaned it all out, and that is clearly a very old field boundary, and this is an old road. What's more interesting is that when you transition from here further down into this field, two things are obvious. One is there's a berm either side of this road that is full of river rock that has been cleared over the centuries from the fields and piled in along the field boundaries. I'll show you that in just a second. Most of it is overgrown, but there's quite a cute berm on both sides. There's also a depression and a hollow, hence the commentary on the hollow road and what a hollow road is. As we come down here, we start to walk into a hollow, not particularly pronounced here, but the berms either side are. More prevalent perhaps is the one on the right hand side. So the modern day property line in fact runs to the right of me. There is the blacktop edge of the neighbour's driveway to his house, and this berm on the right is quite pronounced. The one on the left is not too shabby either. But I love this hollow and love the ancient nature of the formation of such a hollow. At minimum, it's hundreds of years of agriculture, clearing of fields, piling of rock at the side of the fields. That rock, of course, overgrowing and supporting trees that grow for a long time, such as these on the left here. There's an oak here that's at least 100 years old. I'd say it could even be 120-ish, which proves that that portion of the field was not mowed or cleared while in that tree's lifetime. And this hump here, when you dig down, is in fact full of river rock. And I'm going to be reopening it again as it re-enters our property and using it to access the field at the top. That's not the most interesting thing though. So that hollow there going up through the woods is where the old road used to go. So I'm going to get the machine in there in the next few weeks and open it out all the way up to the top. But more interesting than that is that there's a V in the road when you walk in this direction, because another road joined it. Large berm there on the left hand side, large berm there on the right hand side, and a obvious hollow in between. I cleared this out years ago when we first purchased the property. It was absent of large trees and was, in my mind, clearly an old thoroughfare. And I think this had been dozed at some point. The hollow road goes off to the left there and cuts around this stone berm that's in front of me. That is our field, and that hollow is not the current path of this part of the road. Bit of a shame in my mind, only because of my interest in history, but the hollow then rejoins this track in another few hundred feet. This berm here is really quite substantially pronounced. It's a solid berm of river or water-worn stone that has been moved off the field over the years. There's another berm the other side, and there's the roadway in between, right? The track that was in between. That suggests to me that the property that I'm standing on now, whilst it's ours today, was not owned by the same person a long time ago, because they both brought their debris up to the side of the track where there would be a fence, and it would be dumped to the side of the open field. This flat area is clearly cut out of the slight hillside that runs up to my right, and then the drop off on my left. So this is the location of the road. And in recent years, I would say within the history of mechanized equipment, the road, for convenience sake, was dipped off down here to the left. But straight ahead of me is picking up on the hollow road again. Berm on the right, berm on the left, hollow in the middle. And this cuts through the woods here for about 100 yards or so. We get to the location of an old tobacco barn. Quite some storm damage. The old tobacco barn, we refer to it as the witch's house, because the disintegrating boards in the front looks like an open mouth with teeth at night. And we come down here with the quads, with the grandkids on the back, and tell stories. Scare the life out of them, which of course is what a grandfather has to do from time to time. It's the way it should be. So cutting through the woods here, I'll pick back up on the hollow road. How pronounced this becomes. Very substantial old road. So my plan is to clear this out the whole way. This part is dramatic. So this doesn't look like just excavation by feet, cattle or otherwise. This looks like there's been some, not mechanized help, but certainly human help, because I'm now dropping and the hollow's getting deeper. So my thought is this was dug out in order to reduce the slope, to make what is a hill behind me a little easier to navigate. So that's where it cuts up into the, back up to the witch's house that I was talking about. These cobwebs are going to be the death of me. The road then takes a turn here and comes around a large stack of what looks like glacial deposited limestone. Big hill of them on the right hand side, and then a flat area in between them where they've been moved to create this roadway. I'm not going through there, there's a great big spider in the middle of that web. So this track in a few hundred feet disappears off our property, so I won't go any further. But it continues down to the river that is a little ahead of me here. If I stop walking for a minute, make a little less noise, you'll be able to hear the river in the distance. So the river's at the bottom of that valley, and it cuts from my right to my left. But here is what caused my excitement: the old road that crosses the river at a ford that's on the old maps and traverses all the way through our property and comes out on our driveway where it exits our property and joins what is called Jaffellas Road. So one day it'll all be finished, but the first part of it is now, and I wanted to share this history. I think it's quite remarkable. I really do. This is a trail that I run around every day or so, and I keep clear so that I can. That's the old road disappearing up there. It could have been caused by a number of different mechanisms. And when I look at the old maps, I mean, the oldest map there is in this area is about 1750-ish, and it has a line drawn that's referred to as the Greenville Road that cuts across that ford. So I believe this is the Greenville Road, and I'll be opening it up and using it as my access to this part of our property. So having cleared out the first couple of hundred yards of the trail, now's the time to see if it's big enough for the truck. Next phase is to put a layer of clay down, probably about 6 inches, weather in and go like concrete when it dries out. Some stone, and we will have ourselves a road. Well, I'd say it's wide enough, but it's not. Oh, this bit's nice and wide. Yeah, it's wide enough, but it's not exactly a large road. Good enough for my job, for my liking. The trouble is, to get any wider, I've got to go into that berm substantially, and I've got to take down some fairly large trees. So I'm going to leave it the way it is. Put some clay on it, put some stone on it. The old road quest has passed the first phase.